Absolute must-see TV here. Bob Hayden joined by Jonathan Roberts, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything, but we have to start, no matter what, with Great George 2, Jonathan. A decade ago, out of nowhere comes Great George 2, and am I right? Was he at one point the fastest trotter in the history of Canada?
I believe he was. That elimination for the good times was the fastest mile ever trotted up there.
Yeah, and here we have him racing here, and I tell you what, where did he come from? Tell us about the story here.
Well, I actually had schooled him as a 2-year-old early in the year, and a guy from Virginia had him named Leon Harris, and I told Dad we had to try to buy him, and eventually Dad got the job done, and we got him.
And the sire, Hoboken Bahama Mama, is not exactly a household name. How does something like this happen? Is this kind of like a Rambling Willie type of story?
Well, I'm not really sure exactly how that happened. Hoboken Bahama Mama was a brother to Scarlet Knight, a half-brother to Scarlet Knight that never raced. And the guy just got him and bred him, so that's how it went.
Was this the kind of thing that got Jonathan Roberts on the map, you think?
Oh, absolutely. That was, winning some of those bigger races are absolutely great for the career and get you some exposure.
Because up until that point, you were still Bib Roberts' son, right?
Yep, absolutely. I still am.
How is Bib Roberts? That's a name we know here. Meadowlands veterans know it. How is he doing?
He's doing great. He's training about 17 horses in Maryland. My sister is down there working with him full-time, and they're doing pretty good.
Okay, now Rosecroft, you said, is picking things up a little bit, right?
Yeah, they're going to add a day here in the spring when they reopen, and the purses are supposed to go up, and things are looking good there.
Now, for those who think that Jonathan is just here in Delaware, how about this past week, the Miami Valley Driver Championship? You were part of that. That seemed like a lot of fun, huh?
Absolutely, it was. Kudos to Miami Valley for putting that on. It was a great promotion. I know a lot of people that watched it, just that don't normally watch the track, and it really brought a lot of new viewers and fans.
And it was a 3-day affair, and there was a lot of drivers that probably didn't even know each other going in, right?
Oh, there was a ton of guys there, and it was very competitive. A lot of great drivers there. It was really a great show.
You know, the best thing maybe about a driver championship is that it does come down to the draw and the best horses. So sometimes a guy you may never heard of all of a sudden is in a position, and he can kind of step up and get noticed in a time like this.
Oh, absolutely. There were some really great drivers there that didn't make the final. And, not because of their lack of driving ability. It was just they didn't get the right horses, and that's what happens sometimes.
So it was a fun 3-day affair, and I'm glad to see that. Maybe they'll do it again. 8 of the last 10 years, you've had $2 million seasons. Your home base is what, Delaware, right?
Home base is Delaware, and I race at Delaware and a little in Pennsylvania and Maryland mostly. Okay,
let's take a look at a couple of the horses you have tonight. Let's start with the two best. We'll go to race 9 with Interview. Here's a Mach 3 6-year-old mare. 6 of her 9 career wins came last year. She's got a 51-1 mark, and she's dropping down. What about her?
I really liked her last week. I had raced her previously at Chester and done well with her. And last week, it looked like she had been a little bit flat in her previous couple starts, but she really charged home good last week. Okay, and let's switch to race 12. Go to number 10, Lazarus. Now, this is the third straight drop to a non-was at 3,500. Third last time. A lifetime best last year, 54-1. Post 10, though, 7-year-old son, a credit winner, and you're driving for Kelvin Harris. Last week was the first time I'd raced him, and he raced pretty good, even being off for quite some time. It was almost a month, I believe. And, I look for him to be good, but the 10 hole is always, a tough spot. Okay, and then you got a couple of Bomberoos, 7th race, number 5, Bullville Maggie's 20-1 on the morning line, 8th, 9th, and 10th last 4 starts. But did race 45 times last year, made 55,000, so not the worst horse we've ever seen. No, it looks like she's been up in class for a little while, and she's dropping back down tonight. I don't know anything about her, so I'll have to talk to the trainer when I get down to the paddock and see what he thinks. How does that work for you when you've never driven a horse before? You see your name on the overnight program. Do you call the guy 2 or 3 days in advance, the owner or maybe the trainer? How does that work? For the most part, I'll try to talk to the trainer on the day of the race when I get there and just go by the lines in the program, just like everybody else. Okay, and then let's switch over now, if we can, to 8th race, Ronnie Coyne, post 10 with Broadway Rocks. Looks like it's a tough spot here for that one, too. Yeah, the 10 hole's never a good spot here, but, the horses, you never know. You have to kind of just take the race as it comes and see what happens. And 13th race, number 8, Alex Bullville, is also 20-1. Do you have any rabbits in your hat here on Friday the 13th? I wish. I don't really know anything at all about him. I'll have to speak to Buzzy when I get down to the paddock and see what he thinks. But also, kind of an outside post, and you never know.
Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about young drivers. 15, 20 years ago, in order to race at the Meadowlands, you had to be established. There was no such thing as guys 25 years old winning races. Last Friday, Drew Monti won 3, Joey Bongiorno won 3. Saturday night, we had another parade. What do you think is going on with the young? Are they getting the opportunity? Are they just better than they were 10, 15 years ago? What is it?
Well, I believe that, I think they're getting the opportunity. It's kind of a changing of the guard, per se. When I first came up here 10 or 15 years ago, there were, 10 Hall of Famers on the track. So none of the young guys would get an opportunity with those guys to choose from.
So every time a Michael Chance or Ron Pierce retires, we now have an open slot, and maybe 4 or 5 guys are trying to get in that spot.
That's exactly what it looks like to me. There's always been plenty of talent, and now I think they're getting the opportunity, these young guys.
And there's a lot of talent down in Delaware, too. Some guys who used to drive here a lot, Ross Wolfenden, Yannick's down there, of course, T-Trick. So that's no walk in the park down there.
Oh, no. The driver colony down there is pretty tough. It is every winter, and the guys from up here head down. And, it's good racing, tough racing.
Any training involved with Jonathan Roberts? Any yearling or two? We want to kind of hit the home run type thing going on somewhere?
No, not yet. It may be here in the future, but not quite yet.
Wouldn't be bad to find yourself that nice horse. It turns into a stakes horse. You travel around with them. You lessen the workload a little bit.
Absolutely. That's what everybody's in the sport for.
You better believe
try
it.
to find that one.
Well, Jonathan Roberts is one of our favorite drivers. He's here tonight. He's in 5 races, including a couple of favorites. We'll see if we can get him in the winner's circle. Jonathan, thank you so much for stopping by tonight.
Thank you.
Good luck.